and we talk about theology and science, and I don't seem to be able to make either side happy. But here we go. WSO February 22nd, 2016 report. Wow, what a week. Just intense opposition to me making these videos, intense from all sides, just incredible opposition. I want to apologize to my subscribers. We'll get Chris Potter back on to the live show again soon. But there was so much resistance that I had to push that back, and so I'm very sorry about that, and sorry to Chris Potter as well. First thing I wanted to say was thank you to everybody with over 7,500 subscribers. The way I'm looking at this is with over 100,000 unique views, it looks like 100,000 people now don't have to feel alone anymore. Probably one of the biggest comments that I get from subscribers is that that they feel alone. They feel like they're the only ones who feel this way, and I just want you to know that you're not alone, and you have a group here that you can share your stuff with and interact with on my comments. That's why I leave the comments open. Even though the trolls are kind of bad in this area, I want you to know that I want to keep the comments open for everybody. A couple other notes. Number one, I just wanted to set a couple rules for my for this channel. Number one, I don't want to tolerate insults. You can voice your opinion, but if you insult me or my subscribers, I'll automatically block you. If you come with a reasonable tone of voice, even if it's a controversial point of view, we'll let you vet it out with our team, with our audience. Number two, everybody's welcome. I'm going to give you a Christian perspective, man. I told you that 100 times. So here's the reason why I think you should listen to me, because we've known this thing has been coming for over 2,000 years, after all. So I mean, we do have a little bit of insight into this. And then finally, I welcome your input. I want you to send your photos, correspondence to olson.steven.d@gmail.com, and let's get to going on tonight's show. First thing I want to do is just go to the web. The first thing that we have is the pink ice rainbow that we saw from the real-time image gallery, and this came out of the Netherlands. And again, we're seeing this red iron oxide phenomenon. Again, it's one of those things where they try to explain it with various things, but again, the pink is everywhere. I'll have links below. The next one here is a James Norris channel, and he's been looking at the sky cams, and in this particular image, he's actually capturing a large object illuminated by the sun as the sun moves away from it. Check it out, link below. The next one is this Sean Lee 1, who link below again, but she actually had picked up a lot of imagery from the ISS just recently and posted it, and here we see this actual Nibiru looking thing here. Sasa has been doing some really good work lately, but he really captured something from one of the piers there in California. You can see this actual planet throughout this video, and you can see how they're trying to chemtrail to hide it, but take a look at Sasa's video. Here's an interesting one. Astronaut Scott Kelly keeps posting gorgeous colors of Earth photos, not realizing that there's a bunch of us that know what this red cloud is. That's not Aurora Borealis. He's too far south, and number two, Aurora Borealis looks more like this. So it has that more of this kind of a thing going. This is red iron oxide space dust, and it's in fact impacting our atmosphere. But nice of them to show it to us through the Weather Channel. This is just tonight. This is live, and I've been noticing on this Cumberland, Plattsburgh, New York Skycam, we're seeing these three objects that are showing up in the the more long-range view, which I think are extremely interesting. And then here it is live, so just kind of taking a look at what that possibly could be. One might say that's a lens flare from the moon. Another would say it's a refraction coming from a different direction. Very interesting. Let's refresh it together and see what happens. So this is the current image now, so it kind of disappears, and then we have this other kind of stuff going on. It's almost, you can't open up a Skycam these days without seeing something, guys. Okay? Here I wanted to just go to a couple of the webcams to get an update. You might think that we're too cloudy in Monterey here, but when we click ahead a little bit, we can see that we did actually pick up the object. Not a very good view of it today. Here's our Leon perspective. And there it is again. So it's getting brighter each day. This one is the Acapulco cam. Again, we catch good images. Again, this is from today. This is interesting. Something shows up here. That is not a lens flare. And what's interesting about this is it looks similar to some of the images that were captured in Florida recently. Again, take a look yourself, link below. And then finally, I want you to take a look at some of Mark Reed's work recently, again, because he's doing some great telescope work. One of our amateur astronomers out there in the field doing the work. All right, now let's go to the subscriber photos from the week. These are all within the last couple of days or weeks. This was from Florida, where we actually saw heavy chemtrailing activity, and we were actually able to capture some type of an object up there that they were trying to clearly try to chemtrail. This is interesting. Lens flary looking, but again, there's that weird orb with the little dots on it. This kind of goes with this. So this was actually a photograph taken by a viewer and or subscriber, and we're actually seeing the expression of this sun or potentially other planetary object with the moon around it. Wow, I mean, this is interesting. Every day it gets more interesting down in Newmeyer, but I do acknowledge that this is some type of a flare that's going on. But what's interesting about it is that we also have seen this where we think that the object is behind the sun and it's reflecting it back this way. And if that's the case, check out this. This is what it's reflecting. That's what we're seeing reflecting off refracting off of the atmosphere down there in the South Pole. This one is recent from somewhere down in Brazil, where we're actually seeing this object start to eclipse the sun a little bit. More objects in the sky, viewer pictures. This is another one of those captures of that little dotty planet. And usually when you see this dotty planet, it's usually accompanied by some sundogs. Again, we see that here. And this is from Canada. We actually had somebody capture a picture and then reverse it out so that we could see it clearly, this other star, and it looks like possibly two objects there, again confirming what we saw before. A lot of folks ask me, why do we see different sized objects, or why does it appear to be different sized in different cameras? Well, remember now, everybody, there is a lot of effects going on that are distorting the views of these refractions and these images that we look at. Number one, we know that gravity has an effect on it, and these are gravitational bodies. We know that electrical discharge might have an impact on what we see and the size that we see it. We also have the atmosphere to look through. So we've got a lot of things that make the sizes of these things, kind of variable depending on what we're looking at or how we're looking at them. But when we look at some of these Skycam images, it's starting to become pretty clear that we're seeing these objects get closer. And I'll show you what I mean as we go a little bit further on. This one is from Colorado, where they actually captured the blue Chechnya, I think, to the left of the sun. This one is interesting because we're seeing the red iron oxide actually on the atmosphere in the Earth. Of course, this could also be a dust storm in the Middle East as well, but again, we see this more and more. This is from England, where we're seeing these just unbelievable red and orange, clouds again. And then here we got some stuff from Florida, again seeing the sun dogs, but the heavy chemtrailing. And this is Florida, just another picture of the same thing that we saw over the last several weeks, where we saw the object above the sun. Just a neat picture. These are just interesting to me because the more we see this red phenomenon, just tells me that the system's getting closer and closer. This one is really fascinating. As you look up at this a little bit closer, we've got the blue dot and we've got the red thing, just like we've been seeing all over in the Skycams from the ISS just recently. This one is scary because it's showing the debris field and the objects coming in. And I do believe this is the debris field, and these are the objects of the Nibiru system, or Planet X Wormwood system. Again, here's those strange red hued clouds. Now this one was interesting because this was over Colorado, I believe, but we saw these objects pass over pretty quickly. This is the same pattern of objects that we see in the sky cams as well. So it's just another potential viewing of the objects, or part of the objects. This one is interesting because the ISS, why does it turn red? Does anybody want to know? Tell me why the ISS turned red right before sunrise? I didn't know red was such a dominant color in the universe. Here's one where it could be the moon, but somebody caught it the rising of an object. This is from Florida, where people actually got a picture of potentially these could be lens flares, but again, usually you don't see three like that. These are some night things that we're seeing from some of the sky cams where we see this weird phenomenon and lots of colors, strange stuff going on in that area. Here's one interesting. This is Norfolk again, but this is just from, I think, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or a couple days ago. But just look at how large these objects are starting to see, appear. How could you deny that that's something up in our sky that's not supposed to be there? And again, these are interesting because these were taken through welding glasses. I want to make a point here to the viewers and subscribers. Let's try to put our thumb in front of the sun when we're looking at a picture of it. And if these dots disappear, then those are flares. But if you put your thumb there and those things are still there, then that means that those are real objects. Even though I believe that these are good pictures, I just wanted to point that out, that would be helpful. But here again, we see this double dot going on, which is the two little things that we see above the sun all the time. Different perspectives. This one is we're actually seeing light blockage, right, from the sun, because there's an object over here, and so it's blocking out light. And we see this a little more clearly when we actually had a photographer that did a very in-depth analysis on this for us and actually showed the light squashing. So again, we have objects floating around out there. And again, just more. This is from Vancouver now. Same, thing going on there. This is interesting, one of our sports cams. This is from early, from the 12th, but it was just a really good planetary image. This one is really cool, guys. Check this out. This was a panorama camera taken with a iPhone 6 from a school bus driver in northern Alberta. And a couple of things I wanted to point out. This is the east, so this is where the sun will be coming up. But there was also light over here. She said that she had just got her camera out to do the panorama picture when the light went down. There are these two objects on the horizon there, but notice the red. This is a really good picture of what we're talking about when we talk about the iron oxide impact on the Earth's atmosphere, and you can see that across the horizon of that, and then these two objects that just disappeared on the horizon when she got her panorama out. But thank you for that image. It's a really good one. Again, more of the all sky cam images. The recent Core 2 stuff is showing us some neat objects that we're trying to identify right now. Lots of things going on around some of those images as well. Fireballs, crazy in France. In the UK, we actually got some subscriber actually took a picture from their backyard of a fireball in the UK. And then here, remember these were the Leon and panorama, kind of things. We had somebody actually go in and reverse out some of those images for us. This is from a couple days ago, the image that we looked at where we actually saw what I believe is the star, and then just reversed out to confirm that that's its own light source. Pretty cool. Jeez, these sun dogs, man, I'm telling you, there's something wrong there. That's got to be something going on. And then this is somebody reversing out one of the lens flares, and how just strange that looks. And we're back to the beginning again. So anyway, I just wanted to conclude tonight and just let everybody know that it's been difficult. I appreciate your prayers. I'm very serious about helping you to understand what's coming in so you can prepare, both spiritually and physically, and make those decisions for you and your family.